I'm Frank Delaney, 65 years old, and for 20 years, I've borne the searing wound of betrayal that stripped me of everything I'd built. It was a humid afternoon in Perth, October 2005, when my former business partner, Roger Henshaw, delivered the blow that would define my life. We sat in the boardroom of Delaney Henshaw Construction, a company we'd founded together in the late 90s. Its success a testament to my engineering prowess and his sales acumen. I designed sturdy homes and commercial buildings across Western Australia, my blueprints a backbone of our growth, while Roger charmed investors and secured contracts. But that day, as I challenged discrepancies in the accounts, he leaned back, a smirk curling his lips. "You're too old and washed up to fight back. Frank, give up already," he said, his voice a cold blade. He'd forged documents, transferring ownership to himself, siphoning millions while I labored under the illusion of partnership. The courts, swayed by his slick lawyers and my lack of hard evidence, lost in a conveniently misplaced safe, ruled against me, declaring me bankrupt at 45. My world crumbled. My wife, Linda, filed for divorce, unable to endure the financial ruin and social disgrace. My son, Michael, a teenager then, grew distant, his resentment a mirror of her blame, and my reputation, once sterling, became a cautionary tale among peers. Those words, too old and washed up, etched themselves into my soul, a relentless echo in every silent moment. I remember the nights after, sitting on a sagging couch in a cramped Fremantle flat, the hum of the refrigerator, my only company. Linda had taken the house, the car, and most of our savings, leaving me with tools and memories. Michael, 16, visited sporadically, his eyes accusing, asking why I'd let Roger win. I took odd jobs, fixing leaky pipes for neighbors, teaching basic engineering at a local trade school, my hands still capable but my spirit battered. Friends, once frequent at barbecues, dwindled, their pity a burden I shrugged off. "You'll bounce back, Frank." They'd say over beer, but bounce back to what? A life stolen by a man who'd turned my trust into a weapon? Roger's empire soared. Henshaw Developments built skyscrapers, resorts, and shopping centers, his face on billboards, his name synonymous with success, while I patched roofs and mentored kids, my pride a fragile shield. My popularity among trade school students and Fremantle locals grew, my tales of past projects earning their admiration. They'd gather around, asking about cantilever bridges or earthquake-resistant designs, their enthusiasm a flicker of my former life. But the wound festered. Roger's occasional taunt at industry events, his lavish parties where he'd flaunt his wealth, the sight of Linda remarried to a banker, her new life a stark contrast to mine. I saved every dollar, dreaming of reclaiming my dignity, but the years stretched into a quiet endurance, my revenge a distant star. The turning point came 5 years ago, in 2020, when cracks in Roger's facade emerged. His projects faced delays, cranes idle, workers striking, and investors whisper of financial strain. At 60, I began my quiet crusade, leveraging my trade school role to connect with former colleagues. I'd linger after classes, chatting with ex-foremen and accountants, piecing together rumors. Last month, on July 20th, 2025, I met Pete, a grizzled ex-foreman, at the Rusty Anchor Pub. Over a pint, he slid me a USB, his voice low. He's using cheap materials, falsifying safety reports. The hotel on Smith Street's a disaster waiting to happen. My heart raced. This was my opening. On August 10th, 2025, I contacted Sarah, a journalist I had met at a community event, who'd covered construction scandals. We met at a cafe, her sharp eyes scanning the USB's photos, cracked beams, rusted supports. "This could bury him," she said, "but we need concrete proof and timing." On August 20th, 2025, I dug deeper, visiting the trade school's dusty archive room. At 2 p.m., amid yellowing files, I found it, a 2005 contract for the Smith Street Hotel, Roger's forged signature glaring. Tied to a project now under public scrutiny for structural issues. My hands trembled as I copied it, the past surging back. That night, at 7:29 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on August 25th, 2025, I sat in my flat, the ocean breeze cool against my skin, plotting my next step. The annual Henshaw Gala was on September 5th, a glittering showcase of Roger's waning empire. I'd attend, not as a broken man, but as his nemesis. What he didn't know was I'd forged my resilience into a weapon, honed by 20 years of waiting. The 2 weeks leading to the gala were a meticulous orchestration of strategy and subterfuge, my days at the trade school a veneer for my simmering vengeance. By August 28, 2025, my Fremantle flat, its walls plastered with faded blueprints, its shelves groaning under tools and old photos, transformed into a command center. Sarah and I met nightly, her laptop's glow illuminating stacks of evidence as we dissected the USB and contract. The Smith Street Hotel, a 12-story monstrosity completed in 2006, had used substandard steel, its near collapse covered up with falsified safety reports. Pete's photos revealed a pattern. Cracked foundations in recent builds, rusted reinforcements in a new mall project, each image a nail in Roger's coffin. I contacted Bill, a retired safety inspector and former colleague, who joined us via video call. This could trigger a WorkSafe shutdown, he rasped. Hit him when he's bragging. I nodded, my mind weaving a plan born of 20 years of pent-up rage. The gala, set for 7 p.m. on September 5th, 2025, at a waterfront venue overlooking the Swan River, would be Roger's stage, investors, media, government officials, and industry elites in attendance. I'd pose as a retired engineer, my gray hair thinning, my worn jacket and stooped posture a disguise crafted by years of humility. My role was to deliver the evidence to Sarah, who'd signal Bill's WorkSafe contacts at 8 p.m., timed with Roger's keynote address. I secured an invitation through Janet, a former secretary turned gala planner, who'd worked with me in the 90s. She sent on August 22nd, a silver card I held like a talisman, her note reading, "Good to see you back, Frank." She suspected nothing, her kindness a tool I'd wield. Preparation was a grueling ritual. I practiced my demeanor daily, pacing my flat to perfect a shuffling gait, and a faint smile that masked my fury. I rehearsed lines, just here to catch up with old mates, though each word carried the weight of Roger's betrayal and Linda's abandonment. Physically, I lifted weights in my cramped garage, my arthritis a constant foe, but each rep bolstered my resolve. I revisited old mementos, wedding photos with Linda at a site launch, Michael's high school science fair win, a team dinner with Roger laughing over beers, memories now tainted, fueling my drive. One night, I found a toolbox engraved with Delaney Henshaw, a gift from Roger in 2000, and wept, the betrayal of fresh cut. I also tracked Michael's social media, seeing him thriving as a mechanic, a pang of pride mixed with regret. On September 3rd, Roger called, his tone oily. "Frank, the gala's a big night. Bring Michael. Let's show the past is past." I agreed, my voice steady, hiding my intent. He didn't suspect I coordinated with Sarah, who'd lined up Bill's WorkSafe contacts, or that I commissioned a navy blazer with a hidden pocket. Its fabric a shield against his judgment. The blazer arrived on September 4th, tailored by a local seamstress, Maria, who chatted about her son's engineering dreams. Unaware of my mission, I tested the pocket, sliding the envelope inside, its weight a promise. At 6 p.m. on September 5th, I arrived, the waterfront lights dancing on the river, a stark contrast to my inner storm. Guests in tuxedos and gowns mingled, their laughter a hum of privilege. Roger spotted me near the bar, his smile tight. "Frank, still kicking? Thought you'd faded away," he quipped. I nodded, my pocket a silent arsenal, my heart steady with justice. At 7:45 p.m., he took the stage, launching into a speech about his impeccable record and legacy of excellence. I scanned the room, Michael clapping awkwardly, investors nodding, media recording, a government minister sipping wine. At 7:58 p.m., as Roger raised a glass to his empire, I edged toward Sarah, my pulse thumping. I slipped her the envelope, whispering, "Now." She nodded, texting Bill. At 8:02 p.m., WorkSafe agents stormed in, badges flashing, shouting, "Investigation underway." Roger's glass shattered, his face draining of color as agents seized his files and laptops, the room erupting in chaos. The gala descended into a maelstrom of chaos. guests scattering like leaves in a gale, media cameras swiveling to capture every moment, Roger's shouts swallowed by WorkSafe's authoritative commands. Michael stood frozen near the bar, his eyes wide with shock, while investors whispered furiously, their confidence shattered. I stood tall, my navy blazer a badge of my hard-earned resolve, my heart pounding with 20 years of vindication and the bittersweet ache of a family nearly lost. Agents swarmed the stage, cuffing Roger as he roared, "This is a witch hunt!" They read charges, negligence, fraud, safety violations. Each were a hammer blow to his empire. Sarah approached, her voice steady amid the din. "They've got him dead to rights, Frank. You've done it." The media frenzy was immediate. Headlines like, "Henshaw Empire collapses in scandal," and "Engineer's 20-year revenge" blazed across screens by 9 p.m., my name whispered in awe. Roger turned to me, his face flushed with rage, sweat beading on his brow. "You? After all these years, you senile old fool?" I met his gaze, unflinching, my voice clear despite the tremor in my hands. "You said I was washed up, Roger. I just proved you wrong. With evidence, with endurance, with a life I clawed back while you built on sand. This is my payback, for me, for Michael, for every lie you told." He lunged, his fist raised, but agents restrained him, dragging him out as Michael rushed to my side, his voice breaking. "Dad, I had no idea. I'm sorry." I hugged him, the first embrace in nearly 2 decades, a bridge to future we'd rebuild. The room buzzed with reporters, their microphones thrust toward me, but I turned away, my victory a private flame. The fallout was swift and merciless. WorkSafe froze Henshaw Development's assets. Cranes halted, projects abandoned, and arrested Roger pending multiple charges. His firm's stock crashed, investors fled, and his reputation, once untouchable, became a cautionary tale. Michael reconciled fully, moving into my flat to help with renovations, his mechanic skills a bond we'd neglected. Linda sent a tentative email, seeking forgiveness for her role in our split, and I replied with cautious hope. I didn't gloat. My goal was justice, not destruction, but the sight of Roger's empire in ruins brought profound peace. At 7:29 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on August 25th, 2025, I sat by my window, the ocean view a mirror to my comm, a letter from Roger in hand. "Frank, I was wrong. Help me out of this," it pleaded. I didn't reply, the past too raw, my strength too hard-won. Months later, his trial began, prosecutors wielding my evidence, Pete's photos, and Bill's testimony with devastating effect. I attended the first day, my presence a silent testament, and watched Roger's defense crumble under the weight of truth. Michael and I launched a small consultancy, restoring old homes, our partnership a quiet triumph. Linda and I met for coffee, a tentative step toward amends, while I visited the Smith Street Hotel site once, its skeletal frame a monument to Roger's greed. My revenge, 20 years in the making, was not just justice. It was my redemption, a life reclaimed from the ashes of his words. On Revenge Lane, betrayal fuels redemption. What would you do after years of hurt? Share below and subscribe for more payback tales.